Hello guys, this is Modest Major here, bringing you some commentary over some Ragnarok gameplay. I did not think I'd be saying Ragnarok gameplay, because I just so rarely get gameplays on Ragnarok. This is not the map for me, I have to say. I mean, I enjoyed Valhalla on Halo 3. I wouldn't say it was one of my favourite maps. There's definitely maps that I would have more liked to see remade, such as my Guardian, such as my Pit, which they did do in the end, so I can't really complain about that. But Guardian, Pit, Construct, those were some of my favourite maps. So when I saw Ragnarok, I was like, oh well, I hope they do a really good job of it in Halo 4. But for some reason, in Big Team Battle, I think it works okay. I think it's one of the better Big Team Battle maps. But in CTF, get it out of this playlist, for the love of God. It just doesn't work for whatever reason. Like, I feel like, you know, every single step that you take on this map is so dangerous, and you have to pick each step very, very carefully, because if you make one wrong movement decision, you just get absolutely screwed over. Like, a Mantis will just come over, stomp you in the face, or a sniper will shoot you in the head. So as a result, players just find it a lot more rewarding to be defensive, and of course you got a lot of people wanting to protect their KD, so they stay in the bases area, they stay in the trees area, they stay at Pelican, and it just gets frustrating for a guy like me who just wants to run into people and cause chaos. But that's just my opinion, you know. I mean, it's a great looking map, it's got a few good elements to it, and it works on Big Team Battle, so I don't want to complain about it too much, but there we go. So this gameplay in particular is an Unfriggenbelievable. I decided not to use the whole gameplay because personally I thought that it sucked a bit. It was like a 53-6, but one of the biggest problems was that it was just kind of terrible, apart from the Unfriggenbelievable. Because if you think about it, it's like I got 40-0 in one long spree, and then the rest is just me dying 5 times. So I don't know. It's nothing too special to watch. So I thought I'd just shorten it down so I could have a shorter commentary topic as well. The gameplay itself is pretty darn nice. It's one of the best sprees I've gotten in this game for sure. Has some pretty consistent sniping in it. I'm hanging around the base with the saw, just trying to cause as much chaos as I can. I love the saw. I know a lot of people are saying that in the next title update they hope that the saw is powered down or nerfed. I disagree. I personally think that, you know, it's a power weapon, it's allowed to be powerful. I think what they could do is they could up it a tier of power weapons, because amongst power weapon spawns in Halo multiplayer, you can kind of tell that they've got these kind of defined tiers. For example, like, only one rocket launcher can spawn at a time, and it spawns on a very select number of maps. Then you've got the saw that spawns on a lot of maps, and there's 2 saw spawns and stuff like that. So maybe if they just made it 1 saw on certain maps, or maybe if it only spawned on very specific maps, I don't know. But I still don't think it should just be taken out altogether, because I love the way the new saw feels, I really do. And I feel like it has a certain skill curve to it, just in the way that you can, like, kind of press the trigger loosely, and it will be better for accuracy, long range, and stuff like that. I think it's a cool addition. Just my opinion on the matter. But I'm not here to talk about that. Today, I want to talk about the competitive community and what's been going on there. Because if you've been watching Gandhi's Thoughts and just been keeping up with the community in general, you know that the competitive community are they are as negative about Halo 4 as they ever have been. They're in a very dark place, I would say, and that's partly due to the fact that AGL didn't give them their payouts, which I think is pretty atrocious, to be honest. You know, I'm not going to back up that, obviously. I think it's awful. It's like, you know, man, this is already a bit of a questionable job. It's already something that you can't really make that much money from, and that you're putting a lot on the line. You know, going to a tournament and putting in the amount of hours of practice that you have to put in, and just the amount of effort and the amount of money that has to go into funding being a competitive team is pretty insane. And if you're not getting your payouts, it's ridiculous. It really is. At the same time, you know, I feel like it's kind of leading the competitive community to act out on emotions rather than thinking with logic, and I'm not saying this about everyone, but I know that certain people are being very, very anti-Halo 4 that weren't necessarily being as anti in the past, and I can only assume that it's because they're pissed off at their payouts, which is fair enough, but you can't go saying that the game is the worst game in the entire existence of video games just because you didn't get your payout and just because you're feeling a little bit angry towards that situation. I feel like what we as a casual community really need to do, and I'm not exactly a spokesperson, I'm not someone who can rally everyone up and be an idiot, but I'm just saying what I'm doing and what I hope that you as subscribers try and take up doing and take up as an approach is, if you're playing the game, if you're enjoying the game, don't take heed of what they're saying. Don't make those opinions your opinions. I feel like a lot of people, if they hear something that a competitive person says, they instantly assume it's 100% accurate because they're competitive, because they play at tournaments, because they're amazing players. So, oh, well, the amazing player has got to have the insights, hasn't he? He knows the game better than anyone else. He knows how to win. I don't necessarily think that's true. I think a lot of competitive people, like I said, can often think on emotions and can often think in a kind of selfish way, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but I'm just saying, you know, they hang around the competitive community so much that they start thinking of things from their angle rather than the whole community's angle as a whole. You know, they're not thinking, oh, well, how's the average Joe going to react towards this? They're thinking, how am I going to react to this? How is this going to affect my payout? How is this going to affect how I approach my next tournament? How is this going to affect the gameplay that I have to practice on? Stuff like that. And as a result, they can get a little bit short-sighted at times. And I feel like we should just look at it from a perspective of, are we having fun with this game? And if you are, if you're still playing this game, if you have a fun time of it, then try and share those opinions with other people. Try and be positive, and don't try and share the opinions of the competitive people just because you think they're right. Don't just echo their thoughts because that's what's in right now. I really think that's a bad thing to do, and I don't think just because the competitive community start branching out and saying, oh, we're going to play Call of Duty now, I don't think that means everyone has to be negative. I feel like there's this sort of over-reliance on the competitive community, and I feel like it almost feels like we've got a bond with them, and if they break, we break, and we're like, you know, I don't think of the best way to describe it, but it's like we're on the same wavelength, and if they screw up, we screw up. The casual community fails because the competitive community fails. And I don't necessarily think that has to be true. I think we could carry on going. I think even if they completely hate on the game, if a large majority of casual commentators are being positive towards the game and they're still saying, you know, I'm having fun with this game, they're trying to share it with other people, and they're not necessarily bringing 100% negativity towards the table, maybe we could still keep the numbers where they are for now, and maybe even bring in some new people if new DLCs come along. I definitely don't think we should be jumping on the bandwagon of, yeah, you're right, actually, I'm going to start hating on this game now because Gandhi said it was rubbish, and all these pros are saying it's rubbish. They're right. This game is terrible. Because that can happen a lot, that really can, and I know, like I said, it's very easy to follow their suggestions because we've followed these players for a very long time. Obviously, a lot of them started in Halo 2. These are legends, so you find it very easy to trust in what they're saying and to take everything at face value and believe, yeah, he's probably right, this game probably is sucking, I'm probably being a bit short-sighted. Doesn't necessarily mean that's true. If you're having fun with it, who's to blame? You know, what's to say that it isn't good? What's to say it isn't a great game? That's just my opinion. I've been Modest Major. Hope you guys enjoy the gameplay. Peace out.